Okay, today is your first deadline for English 300, and I figured today's video would be back to a little bit more logistics. But I do want to first start by saying thank you to everyone who has been getting a bunch of work done. Um, I want to show you how much work has already been done, at least based on things that I'm tracking thus far. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the D2L grade sheet from my perspective where I can look at everybody, and I've covered names. But the two columns I want you to look at are due date 1, homework 1, 2, and due date 1, homework 3. That's the syllabus and the discussion board. And those are the things that I've been staying on top of this first week. And just I want to show and thank all of those who have been going in and getting that work done. I appreciate it, and it makes a statement that you're um, trying to get in there and get going, and I appreciate that. I do want to show, though, a few logistics so you can understand some of the reasons we're doing things in certain ways, especially this first week. So the assignment of going and saying something in the syllabus, yeah, from my perspective as an instructor, part of that is like, hey, I know you found the syllabus. I can't guarantee you've read it, but I know you found it. Um, I do want you to know that I'm not deleting your comments. It's just with, 120 people. That's where it seems like we're averaging out right now. There's too many people to leave the comments, so usually at the end of the day or the very next morning, I'm resolving them. But if you want to see all of the comments of your classmates, you just come into the document up here in the right-hand corner, click comments, and they are all there. You can just scroll down and see them and see my comments, my replies. Now, I do want to say that in terms of both the syllabus and the discussion board, you'll notice that in the syllabus, I'm replying to every single comment. Part of that is also me knowing that I've seen it and I've graded it. But in the introduce yourself discussion board, both myself and the two TAs, Zach and Adele, did you notice we have TAs from A to Z? It's kind of cool. I'm excited about that. Um, but the two TAs and I are commenting on every single introductory discussion board post. Please do not expect that for the rest of the class. We're explicitly doing that, and I asked them to do that because with 120 people, it's difficult to try to get a sense of who you all are. And we want you to know that as much as we would like to try to know you all, again, 120 is a lot, but we want you to know we care, and please come talk to us. But at the same time, I also don't want you to next week, as things are starting to get done, go like, why aren't they replying to everything? Because I'm not asking that of myself or of them, because I know you're not reading all 120 responses of every single classmate either, and I'm definitely not asking that of you. Okay, so some logistics. I'm going to go back to the homepage and I want to show you. So, in the calendar, um, in this upright, it gives these due dates and its major due dates. You might not see 2 and 3 yet because I haven't released them. And what they're in correlation to, if you come back to content, um, what they're saying here at the top of the due date 1 page, it has that deadline. The reason I'm drawing your attention to that is that when I pull over these assignments from these little purple iconed ones from McGraw Connect, sometimes they pull in dates, and I have to make the deadline dates over in Connect later because some of the activities like drop it right at the deadline, and I have found over time that's more heartache for both you and me instead of leaving it where there's space. So if something happens, um, whether something glitched or whether a life happening, that you can get in there and it's not this ordeal to release it. So the main thing I just want you to realize is that when a due date has a deadline, so January 13th at the top, every single thing under it is due that day. And if for some reason occasionally you might see dates under here, I try to go in and click up and delete them, but sometimes Connect is pushing them again. Please ignore those. And if you come back, especially now that I've made this announcement in this video, if you come back and go, but that didn't say I had to do it until this date, I'm going to be a little upset and go like, well, I told you to ignore that because it was a techno glitch with Connect. So due dates, they're associated with, Deadlines are associated with a whole listing of due dates each time. Hopefully that makes sense. Um, okay, now I want to show some of the stuff in Connect. Now, one of the things that folks have been asking questions about are doing the power of process reading. So that's the Jekyll and Hyde 1 through 4. I realized I didn't provide the link to Jekyll and Hyde, that you weren't reading it in, and I'll do that from now on, and I'll even go back. But in the syllabus, see if we go back to the syllabus. There are links out here to 2 versions of Jekyll and Hyde that you could read outside of Power of Process, and I will, again, I'll post that. But when you're actually doing the work, I'm asking you to do work on top of the text. So let's go look at that. Power of Process, I'm excited about it. I really like it as an application. This is the second time I've used it in this class. But it takes a little time for all of us to learn, even me setting things up. I made a mistake on this assignment. I'll show that to you in a second. So part of what you're doing with Power of Process is it's it's having you engage with the text as you read it. And this ring here, each of the rings are activities that you have to do with the text, and some are before reading, during reading, after reading. In the world according to me, or if I were you, I would go read all 4 chapters first elsewhere where it's easier, you're not dealing with this stuff, and then deal with these activities. But that's up to you. It's all here. So when you click on one of these, it takes you into, at the bottom is always the text. It's there. But it'll either ask you a question. So in this case, it's a question. And you just have to type in the answer. And I'm having typing problems this morning. And then hit save. Voila. See, it's now shaded out. It means you've done this. It's a lighter color. But some of them are also, so some are questions. Come on, behave. Why is it not? There we go. Others, though, like this one, is a highlighting. So this one says, if you don't have a fill in the blank, it means what it's asking you to do is go into the text and highlight something and then leave a note in relation to your highlight. Save and da, da, da. So you highlight and you leave a note. Oh, that was the highlighting it did. Be careful, as in any case, highlighting can sometimes get away from you. So yeah, I've done that. It's now showing it faded out. Now, I do want to acknowledge and show you that I made a mistake. The annotate form and then annotate SR and DV. Both of those were meant to be highlighting activities. So if we go to annotate form, here it's telling you what it's saying is in the film textbook, you read about form and meaning. And they talked about it in terms of film, but it's similar to what happens in literary text. And so I want you to think about that and apply it. So go through these 4 chapters and find at least 3 of the 4 types of form and meaning discussed in chapter 2. And so again, you'll come in and you go like, okay, yeah, this part of the paragraph here, it's an example of dot 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 whatever. So an example of what it is, describe what it is that the textbook said, and then hold on, give me, and then oh, I keep hitting return and it doesn't like me. Why, and then describe why. There we go. And so now I've basically applied and said, hey, this way of form and meaning exists here, and that's what we're looking for. Now my mistake was it was supposed to be set up the same way for um, SR and DV, so similarity and repetition and difference and variation, but I accidentally made it. I didn't, when I set these up, the default is answering questions, and I have to remember to flip it to scan. So what you can do here to answer this question is find in the text, copy and paste it, Oh, it's not going to let you copy and paste. That really stinks. Well, then, all you're doing for me is you're briefly describing what was similar, what counts as a case of similarity and repetition, and what counts as a case of difference and variation. Um, and just type it in there. So this is where you find out your instructor is human and makes mistakes too. You will not be penalized for this, but please try to still engage the text because this is the way you're being asked to think about both the literary print text in relation to and comparing with the audiovisual film text. Okay, and see, it's now saying that I'm done. So I just want to show you what we see on our end. So when we go to grade this, for each of you who submit this assignment, we get a copy of the entire 4 chapters. As we scan through, we can see where you highlighted, like here. I'm continuing to scan. There's another highlight. I thought I saw a highlight with a different color. We scan through, but then down here at the very bottom, we see kind of the responses to all of the different uh, homework prompts that you were given. So just trying to give you a sense of what we see. There's just one more thing I want to briefly discuss before shutting up. I'm over 10 minutes. I want to remind you that for the chapter 2 quiz and the chapter 2 reading, one, you only have to do one or the other. So if you decide and you take the quiz first, the important thing here is that you have to earn 85% on the quiz, 85 or above, to not have to do the reading. And so let's quickly pull up a calculator. This particular reading, if you go into it, into uh, Connect, you'll notice there's 50 questions. So 50 questions times 0.85. So you have to get at least 42 and a half of the 50 points possible to get 85%. If you do not get that, then you must do the reading activity. And again, when you do the reading activity, you have to make sure you complete all the Learn Smart activities. So I'm now in kind of the grade book of Connect, and I just want to show you. So right here, remember, it's 42.5. So the first column here is people who took the chapter 2 quiz. And so this person here who only earned 41 points and has not yet read and done the chapter 2 work, they will not get credit for this assignment because they didn't earn 85%. They have to go do the chapter 2 work. Now we've got a person here who took the chapter 2 quiz. I don't know whether before, but they got over 42, plus they did the reading. They don't get double points, but they've done the assignment. Now here, this one read, someone only got a 26.25 out of 50 points. That was obviously under 85%, and so went and did the reading. So just making sure that you realize that if you did not get 42.5 or above, make sure, and there's a few of you in here, make sure that you do the chapter 2 reading. I also just want to notice over here on the power of process for Jekyll and Hyde activities, it all shows 0. It shows 0 because the TAs and I haven't gone in and graded it yet. So don't freak out. That's like, I did it and I didn't know. We just haven't graded it yet. In the same way that this week I've been up on the discussion boards and you're seeing those grades populate, but in the future, most of the grading will wait and do it after everyone has submitted all their work. I'm hoping all of these logistical tips and tricks help you navigate what you're doing and understand what you're seeing. Always feel free to ask me or the TAs, and we will try to answer. Otherwise, yes, first deadline, get everything done. Go team.